So, hey guys, and welcome to another episode. Today we are joined with Pastor. I'll let you go. So,
My name is Peter Chalo, pastor of Flick Church, and I'm excited to be on this interview with Brayo.
welcome.
Asante sana. Naona umevaa majordans hapo.
Manze ni God.
Mimi nimevaa za bata.
Ziko juu manze.
Ziko juu. Haziko mbaya.
Pasi. Okay, there's this interesting controversial topic.
Yes.
And imekuwa ikiko around not only upper Kenya, but also internationally.
Yeah.
The issue of abortion. I would like to get your views as a man of God and as a Kenyan, as a minister of the gospel.
Yeah.
This issue about abortion.
So, thank you, man, for that question. It's a very controversial topic across different places. You remember the story I was telling you? There's a comedian who was saying women have the right to abort. And the women will scream. Wakasema, yes, my body, I can make the choices. And then the person said, if women have the right to kill that child, then at least for us as men, we might have the right to abandon the child. That was very controversial, but it provokes people to think.
Alafu pia, unaona kuna, okay, there are two sides of the story.
Yeah.
Kuna wale wana agree. Okay, they're saying like abortion should be legalized. And to some extent, wengine wanasema it should make it. And they have their own opinions, they have their own reasons.
Yes.
As to why wanna support.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone has their own reasons. Because some people feel like it's their choice, it's their body, so they decide what they want to do with it. Then there are those who are proponents, they're called pro-life proponents. So they believe that life doesn't begin at birth, but at conception.
Could there's this interesting, I don't know, it was kwa internet.
Yeah.
This guy was alikuwa anajitetea na akasema he takes a fetus as a parasite. And she was a girl. Yeah. She was a girl. And then she was saying like she was giving a definition of a fetus as a parasite. And then she went ahead and saying parasite is something that depends post. So she perceived that fetus
is a parasite. That's crazy. I mean, people will have all kinds of arguments, but I think what we can look at, one is the Bible's view on the same subject. We can look at that, and then also we can try and look at what kind of features does that fetus develop that clearly show that this fetus is a living person.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
So, to start with, to confirm to audio to record up, we have to record our audio. Yes. So to start with, number one, about the Bible, I've taken some few notes here. Of course, the Bible hakuna mahali ina mention ati abortion directly, but unajua Bible ina mention sanctity of human life in so many ways. Kuna verses in the Bible is so much for human life, and especially when it talks about life in the womb. So I was saying Psalms 139, verse 13 to 16. And asema, for you created me in my inmost being, you knit me together in my mother's womb. Brother, like when you created me in my inmost being, you knit me together in my mother's womb. Which in a show, of course, life equals sacred money from God. That for me, Jeremiah 1:5. I said, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Of course, it suggests God and I recognize values alive in somebody and the uniqueness of someone's purpose. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Exodus 20:13 you shall not murder, of course, nation 20 subject your life. So of course kianalizo verse mbili zinaonyeshana, yani ukisoma kwanza Psalm 39 vile the psalmist anaenda deep explain, yani vile God alikuwa anamjua in the womb nini. It shows you Bible it clearly pro-life, that it is more than just situation ya mtoi kuzaliwa. Alafu pia ukiangalia certain things nilikuwa na article fulani hapa inasema how a fetus exhibits several key features that indicate it is a living human being, many of which develop in early in pregnancy. So some of those significant things is unique human DNA. From the moment of fertilization, the fertilized egg has a unique genetic code distinct from the parents. So the DNA contains the full blueprint for human being. Of course, kuna pia cell division and growth. Let me see your scientist, but the fertilized egg immediately begins dividing and growing, demonstrating active metabolism and development, key indicators of life. Because kuna growth, heartbeat around 3 to 4 weeks after conception, the fetal heart begins to beat as early as 21 to 25 days. Kuna brainwave 6 to 8 weeks.
Tulikuwa tunaona dust kobayo.
Alafu organ development by week 8 to 12. By 8 weeks, all major organs, heart, liver, kidneys, intestines, brain are present and developing. Pain sensation. Around 12 to 20 weeks, studies suggest that by 12 weeks, a fetus has pain receptors and begins reacting to stimuli. Viability outside the womb. By 25 weeks, with medical support, some babies born at 22 weeks can survive, proving that the fetus is a fully developing human life.
22 weeks.
So you see, like, hizi ni some pointers zenye tu I was trying to check up online. And of course, the Bible is pro-life. So all these arguments, the ones I'm giving, zina show that there's life. It doesn't just begin at birth, but mother bond na mtoto yake kwa womb. And it has a significant impact because mother akiwa pia at peace, unapata inasaidia sana mtoi. Stress in affect mtoi. But sasa kuna perspective zingine sasa zinakuja, where could there be areas where cases za abortion zinaweza consider? So because the Bible tumesema address cases za abortion exactly, but what about issue moja uliraise na mimi niliraise moja. Mimi niliraise issue ya rape. Dem amerepiwa na hata hajui watu wengine wamemrape. Should she continue with that pregnancy? Number 2, what about a situation when a mother's life is in danger? So what do we do about those situations? And this one, I'll just give my perspective. Because something like rape or matter incest, it's a deeply painful. And it's a tragic situation. And the Bible, I explained that mtu anafaa kuabort in such cases. But for me, what I would say is, I think in these situations where someone is so vulnerable and there's so much trauma, there's so much pain and everything, I would advise that a person should not continue with that pregnancy. Because if it's a young girl, nipitie incest, ataleaje mtoi, tazaje ku manage your situation yote. It's traumatic for them to that. What about rape? It's also traumatic. I don't think, for me, I would suggest, in that particular case, I might have a very controversial view. For me, I would be considerate if even the person was to consider abortion in that case. And then for the situation in mother's life in danger. So, of course, the Bible, about preserving a mother, a woman with a child, and how delicate they are, I think in Exodus 21, 25. But also, kuna situation zenye madhe, akona watu wengine. I'll give you an example. Na hii filia peni ya beshte yangu, childhood friend. Alikuwa na watoi watatu. Then akaenda hosi, aka give birth to the fourth. Ndio amezaliwa bwani, anabongana haziyet after my birth. Then kuna hii story inaitwa preeclampsia. So blood pressure yake I think ilishoot. Preeclampsia. Blood pressure yake ilishoot, madam akakimbiza ICU kidogo alidai. So kuna watoi waini wamebaki bila mother. Unaona? It's a difficult situation. Of course, for me, tutajaribu kusaidia and everything, but hiyo yake ili happen after. So I got a situation where she was at risk. But sometimes dokia kiangalia uko at risk, atakupoteza. Dokia kwa like, maybe utapata chance nyingine kupata mtoi, but it's important that you preserve life yako. Because kuna wale watu wengine wanakutegemea, alafu pia life yako ni important, wala udai, in those kind of situations. So in those kind of situations, I think I would consider a bit of also the advice that is given by the doctor and the health risks involved. I would consider that. So I would make an excuse in those kind of situations.
Okay, so first you mentioned those kind of situations.
Yeah.
So tuweke hizi situations kando, like you've gone umefanya kitu mmefanya. Okay, not willingly, not rape, saying incest, just willingly, and then it just happened. Okay, you didn't want to be pregnant. You didn't want the pregnancy to be on, but just about part two, so like from there.
From there maze, hapo sasa utahitamidi kuwe pia responsible kidogo. Hizo kuna zingine ziko beyond your responsibility, but hii iko within your responsibility because wakati ulienda kucheza hiyo game sijui mnaitangaje generation yenu mechi mnaitanga mechi kuna msanii sijui anaita sijui sege mlege ama sijui nini hiyo mechi ukienda kucheza kwani hata wewe haupo unafikiria si kuna hizo possibilities. Well, of course kuna possibility, kuna contraceptives ndio, but that's why we advocate for abstinence until people get married. But kama wezi abstain, unaona wanatumia contraceptives. But why do you use contraceptives? For two reasons. One, for protection against infectious diseases.
Yeah.
Sindio, that reason. And then secondly, for family planning purposes. So, wewe mwenyewe, umeenda umecheza mechi nini, these are the results. It may happen. In those cases, me, I would say, hey, you're supposed to be responsible for that. Hakuna haja destroy human life in that particular situation. Hapo unafaa kuchukua responsibility. And what happens is unapata, kama Kenya, kuna article fulani panasoma kwa Daily Nation a while back. Hata the former president addressed it one of the holidays. Tuko na like one of the highest single mother rates in Africa. I think you got to number 2 at one point. But one of the reasons why it's gonna so much single mother, single parent rates that are so high in Kenya is because wasi wanakata kuchukua watoto teenage pregnancies. Mama wachalewa wachukue responsibility. Msia iko ready enough, but teenage pregnancies are a big issue. And of course in affect society. But at the same time, tukisema kila time tutaacha watu abort. Abortion pia inakuja na risk zake. Kumbuke. Usijuko shonge na pame abort.
Actually I have.
Si traumatic.
It's very traumatic.
It's very traumatic. So si ati ni kitu fiti, ni kitu traumatic manze. Yani kuna mtu najua alinipea story yake. Mpaka roho yangu ili shrink. Yani the bleeding, yani it's
most of them who wanna regret.
Manze, yani
why did I do that?
Si kitu fiti. Pia ni kitu mbisi, hiyo abortion ni kitu noma bana.
So, wale wase wenye hawajaifanya ndio wanakimbilia kufanya. Wale wenye wako na that experience
kidogo tu unasikia ndio maana wanasema ati majenzio ati wanagopanga vitu, wanasema majenzio wanagopanga vitu gani? Ati wagopi risasi, hawagopi maandamano, lakini wanagopa mimba.
Kwanza speaking kuongezea kwa hiyo tunaona like marriage this kwa hii generation yetu mbele itakuwa watu like marriage won't work. One, kwa sababu relationships, unajua kwanza ndio ufike pale kwa marriage. Lazima kwa relation. Huku sasa ni wana girls wakisema want to be independent, na hii kuna hii side inasema kugongewa ni constant. Like tushakubali. Like we are at par with that statement. Kugongewa ni constant. So fika pale naenda for a marriage, I think there will be a lot of challenge.
But unajua tumoja anaanza kushow pia nini? Kusoma the book of Ecclesiastes, kuna showing places that there's nothing new under the sun. I think hata kama ni usharati imefika hii place ya watu wanasema kugongewa ni constant.
Ndio wana acknowledge.
Sodom ilikuwa hatakuwa tumefikia level ya Sodom. Sodom ilikuwa mpaka ukibring wanaume wa kutembelee. Wasiwa na kuzunguka wao wanasema nende sutoama wao wanaume. Tuwashughulikie bana. Unakumbuka hiyo story? Ilikuwa mbaya. But bado watu waliendelea kumari. Na Bible inasema in the last days people will still be marrying and giving into marriage. So marriage haitaisha hata kama sana sema tuko naogopa nini, haiwezi isha. But this is the thing. Iko also based on just the kind of information on a consume. and the kind of environment una spend time yako. Unajua msaki hang out na watu wako married, ako na higher probability ya get married because anaona values zenye zina work na anakam appreciate. Mtu ambaye ameka pia na place yenye hakuna hiyo aspect, anakuwa na hiyo incline pia.
So know who's your friend.
Yeah, so kitu moja na marriage ni like any other important commitment in life, it will be demanding and it will have its challenges. Mtu ameenda chuo akasoma for 7 years apate certificate yake, aweze kugraduate apate degree or something whatever, ama the number of years you've spent in school, it was hard, ilikuwa sacrifice.
Yeah.
But because you knew the value of what comes out of it, will press ndio. In the same way with almost anything, ukiambiwa sasa utoka hapa hivi uende state uanze life, itaku cost something, utakuwa uncomfortable, utaenda new country, uta have to grind, life itakuwa na challenges zake, so kila kitu itakuwa na demand zake. Same as marriage inakuja na demand zake, but is the outcome of it, or is there any good thing in marriage? One, there is so many good things. One, it's a reflection of Christ and the church, kwa wale ambao tumeokoka. But pia within your setup ya family kuna lovely bonds inakuwa build. Wewe una enjoy bonds zingine because ya family. Sema kweli. Kuna fatigue.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.